Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo, and today we're going to be talking about the AEW Dynamite September 8th edition of the show following their blowout pay-per-view with so much news that came out of it. AEW All Out 2021. We have so much to get into on this show because they really packed up this show so much that I think even towards the end, we had a little bit of some timing issues. And there's just so much to get into, guys. Like, we're going to have a lot to talk about today. But before we get started, I want to welcome you all to the show. I'm already seeing the chat blowing up. So as you guys make your way in here, do not be shy. Make sure you guys share your thoughts in the chat section. I will be reading all of your comments, your questions, your statements as we go forward through this show. Also, friendly reminder, if you guys want, you are more than welcome to send a super chat in at any point throughout the show. Sending in a super chat will get your comment read on the air. And guys, these last few days have literally just been non-stop, okay? Non-stop. And there's been so much news. It has been just like madness. And I think that this show, for the most part, I will say it definitely delivered. It was a very fun episode of AEW Dynamite that actually featured one of my favorite segments. And unless you follow me on Twitter, you'll know which one I'm talking about, but I'll go into that further once we actually get to that portion of the show. But first and foremost, I want to kick it off with our first super chat. This one is from Chris Ludek. Thank you so much to Chris. Chris writes, how much sleep do you get? Because you're always working and covering wrestling events. I love how passionate you are about your work. So usually I get a good amount of sleep, guys. Like I prioritize my sleep and my rest and all of that. But because of Chicago and like all of the events and my flights and everything, I did go like about a little bit over 24 hours without getting actual sleep. But since then, since I've been back home, I my first night back home, I had a nice 10 hours of sleep. And then today, was that today? I don't even remember. No, that was today. What time did guys, I'm so confused on my days. I don't even know how many times I've slept. That should probably tell you. Never mind. That just answered your question. I need more sleep. My brain isn't functioning the way that it used to. Thank you so much to Chris Ledeck for sending in that super chat. We have another one from Doug McLeod who says, great follow-up to All Out, which I saw in person. I just wish they gave more time to the main event. And that's what I meant by timing issues. And of course, we'll talk about this more once we actually get to that main event, but I have to agree. I do think that they should have given this match, considering how excited we all were for this match. Like when I thought of why I was looking forward to AEW Dynamite today, there were multiple reasons, but the main reasons were I want to see how they're gonna follow up with Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and Ruby Soho, and all of the the new recruits into AEW, right? And the main thing was also, I want to see Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki. So I kind of do feel like they could have probably taken some things out of the show. And I know that sucks because there were a lot of good stuff. So they really would have had to pick and choose what to take out to make this match longer. But given that this match was something that we were looking forward to, I'm pretty sure they could have moved things around, maybe move some stuff to Rampage or whatever the case may be. They didn't have to do the Dan Lambert thing today, as much as I love that. I think just given the fact that the main focal point, or one of the main focal points of this show, one of the main reasons why people were tuning in were to see that match between Minoru Suzuki and Jon Moxley. I wasn't a fan of the fact that they cut off Minoru Suzuki's entrance. People were looking forward to that, and they took that off. And then we got the picture-in-picture, so that kind of took you away from the match. And then the match ended up at ending. I think it was like 6:57 when I saw that the bell rang for this match. So they kind of still had a little bit of breathing room to maybe have this match go just a tad bit longer. But instead, we kind of got like this long celebration with Jon Moxley. And I get why they did it because, it's Jon Moxley's homecoming at his hometown. So they want to see the celebration and all of that. But I do kind of think that the main event was a little bit it was more so of a tease. Like we didn't go all the way with it, like I think many people were hoping that they did. So I would like to see this match again, and I would like to see it a lot longer, perhaps on a pay-per-view, because I do kind of feel like we were cheated just a little bit from that match here tonight for the main event here. And let me go through a couple more comments here. I'm going to get as many as I possibly can here. But we got a lot of people basically saying the exact same thing. People just basically wanting it to be done again. And yeah, I completely agree with everything that is being said here today. We got a comment from Karen Nova who says that the Punk segment was fine. They were 2 long promo segments that they could have cut. As we go through the show, maybe we'll get into that a little bit more on maybe things that they could have, rescheduled for another Dynamite, or hell, put it on Rampage, or whatever the case may be. We got a super chat from Cheeky Monkey who says, so strange hearing CM Punk chants and it not being negative. WWE has trained my brain to have it mean this sucks. I will tell you this though. Being in that Chicago audience, being there to, welcome and experience the CM Punk entrance in Chicago for AEW All Out was one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I didn't realize that this should be like a bucket list thing amongst wrestling fans. But once you're actually there and you experience CM Punk's entrance in Chicago, it really does feel very special. And I'm sure it's going to feel special everywhere else, especially because we went such a long time without seeing CM Punk do his entrance. But in Chicago, obviously, it's just a tad bit more special. So thank you so much to Cheeky Monkey for sending in this super chat. And yeah, a lot of people are upset that they cut Suzuki's entrance. And I think that people are definitely going to be talking about that on social media. But let's go ahead and jump into the show, guys, because there was tons, and I mean tons to talk about. There was a lot of good stuff that I want to make sure we get at here. So let's kick things off with the opening match, which was Malakai Black versus Dustin Rhodes. And I love this match. I thought this match was great. I thought this was a really good match. I was so glad that they kicked off the show with this match because Malakai Black was not on that AEW All Out pay-per-view. And given the fact that he is one of the, big names that has just jumped on board with AEW, obviously prior to Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, I was a little bit bummed out that he didn't have an actual match on the card. But then again, all right, timing issues or whatever the case may be, it just didn't work out for him to have a match at All Out. So being here and opening up the show was kind of like a good way to get him back in the minds of the people, so to say. I'm trying to think of a good way to explain that, but I just think it was a good thing to actually open it up with his match on here because, again, this was somebody that I think should have had a match at AEW All Out, didn't have a match at All Out, and so you want to kind of have that, hey, Malakai Black is still here, thing. But what I particularly liked about this match, guys, is that, and I tweeted this out, and obviously it's no surprise because, Dustin Rhodes has had such a long career, and we've seen him work for years now, right? For years. But I just kind of want to put over the fact that this match, what I really liked about it was that it was worked so well. And by that, I mean is that, when this match got started, it got started right away. One of my pet peeves, and you guys have heard me say this so many times, is when you have these serious feuds, right? You have these serious storylines between people, and then they get into this match and they kick it off with a rest hold. I hate when people do that, right? It kind of defeats the purpose of the story that they're telling. So when they went into this match with Malakai Black and Dustin Rhodes, you didn't get that. Right away, they just started going at it, several body shots to one another. And I was like, hell yeah, this is exactly how you start a match like this when this is the story that they have been telling. So right away, I was like, okay, good. They know what they're going with here. And it immediately got me invested. And what you saw in the beginning of this match was, you saw Dustin Rhodes get the upper hand here. Now, I know everybody here watching obviously knew that there was no way that Dustin Rhodes was going to defeat Malakai Black. But at the end of the day, he is the babyface in this match. So you want to build up hope for your babyface, and you want to give him those hope spots so that, the crowd could just get into the match, right? And so they did that. They built a lot of hope up for Dustin as a babyface, to the point where once this match progressed and you saw Dustin Rhodes in these situations, there was a moment where Malakai Black had him in a heel hook. And during that moment, like people were like, rooting for Dustin Rhodes. Why? Because they had given him all of this hope prior, leading up to this point in the match here. So I like the fact that they gave him that upper hand. They gave him, credibility in this match so that even though we all knew Malakai Black was going to walk out winning this match, we all still got behind Dustin Rhodes, who again is the babyface in this match. Towards the end, we see Malakai Black hit him with a running knee strike. And then there's a moment that I also really enjoyed from this match. And again, this ties into the story. And so Malakai Black goes under the ring apron and he essentially pulls out Cody Rhodes' boot. And that is something that we have been seeing ever since Cody Rhodes took off his boot. And, he kind of teased retirement for a minute there. And so Malakai Black brings out the boot and he throws it to Dustin Rhodes and he kind of kicks it to him, kind of like, this doesn't mean anything to me, and just sloppily kicks it, right? So then this angers Dustin Rhodes, and I really like that because it was something that bothered him, and it should bother him. So I kind of like that aspect that they added to this match, that story aspect that they added to this. And then immediately after this, after Dustin Rhodes gets pissed off during this, he ends up hitting Malakai Black with the Canadian Destroyer. He goes for a pin. It's a near fall. It's a 2 count. And then in the end, we end up seeing Malakai Black win with a spinning heel kick, and Dustin is literally bleeding from the mouth. So not only do you have this great match, this great storytelling that happened in this match, but towards the end you also have this really cool visual where Dustin Rhodes is busted open, and then you have Malakai Black who's sort of savoring the moment. He's this guy that you look at him and he screams death and everything evil, right? So you look at him and you know that he's a badass because he's making the guy bleed. I mean, the point is, it was a great visual, a good story that they told here. So I was a big fan of this match, considering it wasn't even something that I was oh, I'm really looking forward to this match or anything like that. I was okay, cool, we're having this match. I didn't really think anything else of it, but after watching it, and after watching it, just ended up liking it a whole lot more. So kudos to Malakai Black and Dustin Rhodes on that match. I enjoyed it really much, very much, excuse me. We got a super chat from Reggie Simmons who says, I'm spoiled, a wrestling fan. I'm a spoiled wrestling fan, says Reggie Simmons. What a month. Here's another great show. Keep kicking ass. Thank you so much, Reggie. Reggie has been very kind to me on this show, and I very much thank you so much for it. And yeah, we have all been spoiled when it comes to wrestling this month, guys. We got another super chat from Crifter C, who says, hi, Denise. I read about the scrum issues from yesterday. Currently, it looks like the videos are working. Now, how did that process go? So yeah, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys will know that my videos were copyrighted by AEW, but it wasn't something that was done on purpose, though. YouTube, essentially, what they do and how it works on my end. So, for example, do you guys remember people were stealing my interview with Bianca Belair? So I uploaded my interview with Bianca Belair, and then someone essentially re-uploaded it onto their channel. And so I got a notification from YouTube basically saying this person stole 100% of your video. Okay, so they notify you when someone essentially steals your content. Now, here's the other issue, though, is because YouTube thought that my video was essentially stolen from AEW because we essentially had the same footage, and my video was not shot on a cell phone. So my video was shot on an actual DSLR, pretty good quality for the most part. And so the YouTube thought that I had stole that footage from AEW, even though I didn't, as you guys all know. And so essentially they copyrighted me automatically. And so I legitimately started freaking the hell out. I thought, oh my God, I'm in such a good standing with YouTube. There's no way that I can afford this whatsoever. But I will tell you this, I blasted it on Twitter, and within 15 minutes, probably less than 15 minutes, I had multiple, not just one person, but multiple people from AEW reach out to me, and they were like, we're working on it. We're going to fix it. file a dispute. I filed a dispute. They fixed it. And within an hour, my issue was resolved. And I did have another video that had a similar issue, but they fixed it automatically. So I was really appreciative of that. But yeah, you got to be careful with copyrights and all of that. So I'm all for protecting your content and all of that. But yeah, I was very happy that that got squared away instantly. We got a super chat from James Barrows who says, it was nice to see Riho again. I'm a huge Riho mark. Would have been nice to let her get a few more things in while she made the save. I kind of feel like, we all saw, so at AEW All Out, when they did the Casino Battle Royale, when they announced that Riho had been eliminated, I remember sitting there being like, dang, I missed it. I didn't see Riho get eliminated. And I think like a day after, 2 days after, whatever the case may be, people were sharing that clip on Twitter, basically saying that she was never eliminated. She was essentially, she went underneath the bottom of the rope and ended up falling out, and they called it and said that she was eliminated. I kind of felt bad. I was like, damn, like that should be addressed. And so, yeah, I do kind of feel bad for Riho. I think she kind of got the short end of the stick there. So yeah, Team Riho all the way, guys. And obviously we got to see her tonight, which was nice. But yeah, I do hope we get to see a brighter light shined on her. But thank you so much to James for sending in your super chats. I appreciate it. We got another major super chat from Crifter C. Thank you so much, Crifter. Crifter says, I was talking to my friend on the phone saying that Dustin is putting up more of a fight than Cody. Right when I said that black masses him, and just as I was finishing my sentence, and I just bust out laughing. Thank you for sharing this. And from the looks of it, they did announce this later on in the show. We are going to be getting the return of Cody Rhodes for the Arthur Ashe show, and he is going to be having that match with Malakai Black. So they are building and stacking up that Arthur Ashe show. And I gotta tell you, I'm so jealous that I'm not going to be there, guys. But what can I say? You can't be at all of them. I'm hoping to be at Full Gear. I know they changed the date. I know it was supposed to take place in St. Louis, I think. I forget what city. But they didn't really announce that or make that clear afterwards. So I'm wondering if they're changing the city. I do not know. I could be completely wrong on that. So I am kind of waiting for them to like clarify that, so that I could start making my travel plans. But anyways, thank you so much to Crifter C for this very kind super chat that you sent in. We got another one from New Punk Rants. What's up, New Punk Rants? New Punk Rants says, Adam Cole calling Tony a nerd is my moment of 2021. I missed Excalibur, but what a great show. And glad we get to see new stars featured. I love AEW, says New Punk Rants. So to address some of the things that you just mentioned on here, I now want to hear, and I now demand this. So if any people from AEW are magically watching this stream, I now demand that on every promo that Adam Cole cuts, that we hear him call somebody a nerd. That was the funniest thing. I loved it. I was dying. I don't know what it is. There's just certain trigger words that make you laugh. Nerd. Turns out nerd is it for me. I hear someone call somebody a nerd, I laugh. It was funny. He was telling Tony Schiavone like step down, nerd, or something like that, right? And he was like basically telling him to hurry up and hurry up because he had a promo to cut, etc. This was hilarious, guys. We'll talk about that more. We did miss Excalibur. However, I will say this. Taz was absolutely phenomenal here tonight on commentary. He had so many funny one-liners where I was like, damn it, Taz. And here's the thing about Taz, because Taz has this like personality, he's a tough guy. You don't mess with Taz, right? Like he's a tough guy. So when he says something that like somebody else could have said it and it might have not been funny, but because Taz said it and the way that he talks, it was hilarious. Like there was a point during one of the matches, I forget which one, and it's down in my notes somewhere, where he says, I love ballet, but it's not ballet. But this is not ballet. And that's not necessarily funny, right? but because Taz said it, it was hilarious. Whatever. That's the point that I wanted to get at here. And we did get to see a lot of people featured on the show. One of them being Dante Martin, again, who's been getting over pretty well with the people. We got a super chat from Anton HHH who says, I had so much fun. I wanted another hour of AEW. Damn, I would have really liked an overrun if we could have them for AEW. I know they don't do those, but damn, today would have definitely been the day to have an extra 15 minutes just so that we can see more of Minoru Suzuki and Jon Moxley. We got another super chat from Jay Payan 421 who says, YouTube punished you for being too professional. That is true. That is most definitely true. Okay, so funny story. When I was at the media scrum, I got all of my interviews, right? And they were all shot on my DSLR. My Tony Khan one wasn't because my battery died. So I had to shoot that one on my phone. And that one didn't get copyrighted. But the ones that were the good quality got copyrighted. But anyways, he says, Deathmatch Denise versus YouTube algorithm. Man, I will tell you this, guys. YouTube is being very good to me right now. I'm not going to be mean to YouTube. YouTube is being good to me as of this moment. Aside from the copyright issues, the algorithm is on my side right now, and I'm appreciating it. So I don't want to start any drama with YouTube algorithm. Let's see what else we got here. We got a super chat from Flamethrower who says, Tony will now have a new stable called the Nerd Herd. The Nerd Herd. I love this. I really love this. Dang. You know what? And it's funny because usually I feel like I laugh at really dumb stuff, but seems like everybody loved this. We got a super chat from Malcolm Mitchell who says, funny how Cole ignored Good Brothers in his promo. Oh, I didn't even realize that. We got a super chat from Jimmy Bilenko. Thank you so much to Jimmy who says, hi, Denise. I have a suggestion for an F4W online segment. Question suggestions for media scrums. So you take questions from the viewers and the best, most relevant ones would be asked during a scrum. That is definitely a good idea. The only reason why I don't know if that would work would just be because, like, when you go to these media scrums, you don't always know who's going to be there. Like, you can guess who's going to be there, but you don't know for sure. Like, I knew Tony Khan was going to be there, obviously, because he's always at these. But in terms of the talent that they were going to have, I didn't know they were going to have Daniel Bryan and Bryan Danielson. I didn't know they were going to have Ruby or Adam Cole or these people. So, like, you kind of have to, like, go in and be like, expect the unexpected, essentially, and be prepared. And, you know, obviously everybody's like dying to get a question in. So it's one of those things where you like really got to be on your toes and you really got to be ready and prepared. But thank you so much to Jimmy for sending in the suggestion. We got another super chat from New Punk Rants who says, I also like the women's stuff. I have Ruby Soho stuck in my head and they seem to be building from the Battle Royale. Next week is also stacked. And we will get into the women's stuff in just a second. Before we do, I'm going to read the super chat from Chris Ludek who says, I liked how they hinted at tension between Wardlow and MJF. Do you think when they eventually split, MJF brings in Strowman as his new heater? I didn't even think about that. I feel like we're bound to see Braun Strowman in Impact Wrestling just based on what we've been seeing on like social media and like the reports that I've been reading and, you know, all of that stuff. But then again, the Forbidden Door and all of that. So we could see Braun Strowman going other places, whatever, right? But I do see him heading on over to Impact Wrestling right now. I don't necessarily feel all that confident in saying he would be essentially his new, right-hand man there. But we will get into that segment because that was, again, one of my favorite segments that I've had that I've seen in a very long time. So let's go ahead and move on, guys. So we just talked about that opening segment. Let's get into the CM Punk promo because these CM Punk promos have literally been an absolute treat. And it was funny. So I kind of felt like this opening promo for CM Punk, the first portion of this promo for CM Punk, it kind of felt like we were listening to CM Punk's post show of AEW All Out or just of AEW in general. It was kind of hilarious because, you know, he comes out and he was just touching on a bunch of different topics. So he comes out, he thanks the people. He says that, you know, he was a little bit nervous about his match with Darby because he really didn't know what was going to happen. But then he says it was essentially like riding a violent bicycle, basically saying that he found his footing, etc. The second, the match started, all of that. The crowd starts chanting, "You still got it. He thanks the fans for that. Then he starts going into this match with Jon Moxley and Minoru Suzuki, and he starts to say that, he's very excited for this match and that he's going to be watching this match just like everybody else is, like a fan, not necessarily just as CM Punk the wrestler on AEW, but as a fan. So I really like that. Then he points out Brian Pillman Jr.'s aunt, Linda, who's in the crowd. And we didn't know that later on this would lead to something else. But he basically calls her an angel for, taking care of Brian Pillman Jr. And if you guys watch The Dark Side of the Ring, you guys will know the entire backstory to that, which was a really good episode of Dark Side of the Ring. And CM Punk just basically says, you're an angel, and, he liked what he saw on Dark Side of the Ring. Then he starts talking. This is what I mean. He touched on a lot of different things here. Then he starts talking about the text messages that he received from his wife, April, AJ Lee. And that basically she texted him, baby, what's next? So then he starts asking the crowd, what is next? The crowd starts chanting Moxley. But instead, we have an interruption from Taz. And Taz interrupts him on the mic. And he basically says that he's tired of this bullshit love fest between the fans and CM Punk. Then he starts telling them, don't you ever mention any members of Team Taz. And CM Punk's like, what are you talking about? I didn't even mention any of the members from Team Taz. So then you kind of get this like back and forth argument between CM Punk and Taz. This kind of goes off the rails for like a second. And then we see Hook and Hobbs come out, and they're kind of just standing there by Taz. I will tell you this, even though the argument was a little bit messy and kind of didn't make too much sense, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because they kind of like, I thought they fed off of each other really well. And I knew what it was leading to. So it was kind of just like, okay, let's get to the point here. I actually would have preferred, I think it would have ran a lot smoother if Taz would have just taken the mic and been like, you know what? I know what's next for you. I got a couple of guys who would like to show you, what it's like to be here in AEW, or I don't know, some bad guy promo. I think he just basically said, I have the guys who are next for you, and they're going to show you pain or punishment or something like that. I thought that would have been like an easier way to get to the point here. But either way, CM Punk essentially uses Taz's very own catchphrase by basically telling him, beat me if you can, survive if I let you. And he says he tells Taz to send him Ricky Starks, to send him Hook, and to send him Hobbs. So this was, again, now that they did this, we know that now for the next couple of weeks, this is the program that CM Punk is going to be in. He's going to have a couple of, I'm assuming based on what we saw, a couple of matches with, these guys from Team Taz. And just right off the bat, you already know that all of these guys are going to benefit from being in the ring with CM Punk. Even if all these guys lose to CM Punk, it's going to be beneficial for them. So I like this. I did think they could have gotten to the point a little bit faster. We got a super chat from Crifter C. Thank you so much to Crifter, who says, I just want to say good thoughts and good vibes to the man with 3 H's. Seriously, much love and get well soon. I'm so glad that you mentioned this as well, because I was sitting here on my computer when I got the email from WWE. They sent out a press release about Triple H and essentially saying that he suffered a cardiac event due to a genetic heart issue or heart. Yeah, I forget the exact wording that they put on that press release. And I just thought, oh my God, obviously nobody knew that this had happened, but he is well. He is well and he's going to fully recover. But it was kind of one of those things where I was like, oh my God, just again, it came out of nowhere. So I do really hope that he is okay. And I hope that he recovers really fast, because I know there was a lot of really negative comments out there on social media, because that's just the way social media is. And it shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, wrestling is one thing, life is another thing. And I just feel that any negative comments towards Triple H about that were completely wrong and uncalled for. And I just want to say that you should be either don't say anything or just wish the guy well, man, because I'm a fan of Triple H, guys. I'm a fan of his work. I've always been a Triple H fan, and I love what he did with NXT. And obviously, we're going to be seeing those changes in NXT. But at the end of the day, I respect and admire Triple H, and I do hope that I do hope that he is well and that he gets well. And I do hope for a speedy recovery. So thank you so much to Crifter C for bringing this up, because I did want to address that at some point during the show. And all right, so we're going to move on. We're going to shift back into the show. These slight shifts are always really hard to make, but here we go. We got another super chat from Brandon Rosen, who says, a feud with CM Punk is exactly what Team Taz needs to be relevant again in AEW. The Cage Starks feud has gone stale for me. See, I liked what they were doing with Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, and they were building to that for a while, building for Brian Cage to essentially have his babyface turn. And I've been on here basically saying that Ricky Starks is absolutely phenomenal on the mic. Like, I love the guy. He has so much charisma. I'm a fan of Ricky Starks. Like, I think there is a lot there, and I think he's going to serve AEW very well in the years to come, or months to come, or whatever time to come. They have a lot there with Ricky Starks, I think, and it was going a little stale, but not for the reasons that you think, not because of the competitors. I just kind of feel. And if my memory serves me correctly, I kind of feel like they would do something with Brian Cage and Ricky Starks one week, and then we kind of would go a bit of a chunk of time where it really wasn't mentioned, or if it was mentioned, it was mentioned very quickly, and then they would come back to it, and then they would kind of I didn't really feel like the plug was necessarily pulled all the way. Like, we would get it, but then they would kind of forget about it for a bit. I don't know. It's almost something that wasn't necessarily, they could have shoved it down our throats just a little bit more is what I'm trying to get at. I feel like a lot of the focus was shifted away from the story that they were telling with these guys, and they would keep having like these breaks and these pauses. So that's why I feel like maybe you might have felt like it went stale for you. But in terms of like me still being interested in these guys, my interest is still there, because again, I'm a fan of Ricky Starks. I still feel like, obviously Hobbs has been having a lot of good matches. Brian Cage, well, he's Brian Cage, and he's hella entertaining to watch wrestle all the time. And then, Team Taz, Taz himself, always has really good promos and all of that. So, let me see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments. And yeah, I appreciate everybody in the chat just, leaving some nice comments about Triple H and all of that. All right, we're going to move into this next portion here, guys. So we had a quick backstage segment with this very, very cutthroat man, Britt Baker. So Britt Baker and Ruby Soho, they're having this little exchange backstage, and there was one line that Britt Baker hit, and I just thought to myself, oh my God, Britt. Britt just tells Ruby Soho, why don't you run away to catering where you spent the last 4 years of your life? I thought, damn, girl, that was a really good line. It's what you expect from Britt Baker. She's had a lot of really good lines like that in the last couple of months, especially since becoming champion. She's even leveled it up that much more. I love this. Simple, to the point. It made Ruby Soho look good. It made Britt Baker look good. I love this whole interaction between them there. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on. So after this, we had Dante Martin versus Powerhouse Hobbs. This was another really good match. For the most part, it was a quick match, but it was what you expected from it. You expected to see, the athleticism from Dante Martin, all of these, high-flying maneuvers from Dante Martin. You got that from him. And then from Powerhouse Hobbs, it's in the name. You're going to be seeing these power moves and essentially them highlighting his strength. And you kind of got that nice mix from both of them, which led to a fun little match. One of my favorite parts, though, in this match was when Dante was going for a tope suicida, and instead Hobbs catches him. And then you kind of see so Dante Martin is perfectly straight, right? And his feet are perfectly tucked into the ropes, right? And Hobbs has him, and then he just rams his body right into the ring post. Oh, this looked really cool. This looked cool. It kind of came out of nowhere, and I liked it because it was he pressed the brakes, because it's Dante Martin was coming in fully with the gas pedal, and then with Hobbs essentially grabbing him and stopping him. It was like he just hit the brakes on his momentum and turns it around and ends up just smashing his body on that ring post. Oh, I loved it. And this was the match. Now that I see it here on my notes, this was the match where Taz said, I love ballet, but this is not ballet. Now, I cannot do Taz's impression, but it was hella funny when he said this here. So yeah, it pretty much it was what it was. It was what you expected. Hobbs ended up winning after hitting a power bomb. Fun match. I liked it. I was into it here. Let's see what we got here. People are saying that Hobbs looked like he may have had a concussion. I actually did not notice that. So I have a couple people bringing that up here. I didn't notice that actually. Oh man. Okay, well, I hope he's okay. I'm sure this will probably be clarified like within the next couple of hours. I'm sure that'll come out for a second. Let's see what else we got here. We got so many different comments here. We got one from Advi who says that they love Dante's step off the rope backflip he does over his opponents. Really good stuff, guys. The kid's got talent, all right? And I like that they're highlighting him. I've been impressed with Dante Martin since that moment there that we saw him. And all right, guys, I'm going to go through a couple more, but I think I got pretty much everything. Guys, again, if there was something that I didn't get, you can go ahead and resend it in a comment and I'll try to make sure we get it. If you want to make sure your comment gets read, send it as it pertains to what we're talking about so that I can make sure to actually read it here. Let's see what we got here. We got a comment from Question the Mark who says, I liked Hobbs and Dante. Have to give Hobbs TV time to build him up to face someone like CM Punk. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's what it takes. Just build the guy up. And it's going to be a fun match because, a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs, what's that big meaty men, that sort of thing. It's going to be good stuff there. And all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next match here. And before we do move on, I just want to remind you guys all that I am going to be back here on Friday. So we kind of have a big show on Friday. On Friday, we got Smackdown, and Smackdown's going to be in Madison Square Garden this week. And they already announced Brock Lesnar. So I'm very excited about that. Because as you all know, I am a Brock Lesnar girl. So I'm very excited about that. And then we're going to have an hour of AEW Rampage. So we're going to have 3 hours of wrestling to essentially get in 1 hour. So that's going to be a really fun show. Make sure you guys tune in on Friday. So now after this, we got one of my favorite heels. One of my favorite heels right now in wrestling is literally Dan Lambert. Okay. Now, again, because of the way that the show ended, I would have probably rescheduled this whole thing for like another show or for Rampage or something, because I do think that they could have done without this just to give more time to Minoru Suzuki and Jon Moxley. But anyways, it is what it is. We got Dan Lambert, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page. They're up on the rafters. No, they're not rafters. They're up in that box area. God, what do you call those things? The suites. Thank you. I was like, damn, what the hell is it called? The suites. So they're up in their suite and Dan Lambert just basically going off. I love it because he pulls up all of these lines where you're just like, even though you probably wouldn't be friends. If Dan Lambert was like this, like in real life, you'd probably hate that guy. Like that's the guy that everybody hates on social media. That's again, it's the guy that nobody likes, right? So he's doing that role and he's doing it so well. He's essentially makes fun of, he congratulates AEW for bringing in, he says, quote, these skinny little dorks who are 5'9" or shorter. He's obviously making fun of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. You get the crowd basically doing shut the fuck up chants. Good stuff there. Then he even has some other funny one-liners where he basically says that AEW made their fans Google the lyrics to one of the worst songs he's ever heard in Judas. I thought that was hilarious too. And then he basically ends this with, he doesn't want to hear AEW chants, which is obviously going to cue the fans to do these AEW chants. Now, again, good promo. They could have taken it out again to give more time to the main event. And let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from Cult of Caster who says that Lambert is good in small doses. I would say we've been getting him in small doses, though. We really, really have. Keith Duran says, as good as Lambert is, Ethan Page does not need a mouthpiece. He doesn't need a mouthpiece, but Dan Lambert brings something differently that in terms of, I still feel like Dan Lambert is coming across as a bigger heel. And that's not to take away anything from Ethan Page. It's just that I don't think Ethan Page could do what Dan Lambert does and vice versa. I don't think Dan Lambert could do what Ethan Page does. So I like that he is that mouthpiece. I think it adds to them a whole bunch. So I am actually a fan of this, guys. Justin King says, where's the storyline with Dan Lambert going? I thought it was going one direction first, and now I kind of feel like it's going a totally different direction. I kind of just feel like he's gonna be that mouthpiece right now for Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and this should hopefully get them some momentum on the tag team division. In the tag team division, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe he'll have some of his guys, have some fights or matches on AEW. I don't know. I do not know. And let's see what else we got here. We got Sam3 says, MMA coach yelling at wrestling fans. Jeremy Jimenez puts, get off my lawn. Those are really funny comments, guys. We got a super chat from Christopher Marino who says, the Lambert thing is not working for me because the two guys he has aligned with himself, all they have done is lose. Makes no sense for me for his character. Yeah, it did come out of nowhere. And I think that even though the Dan Lambert promos and him going off and, essentially burying the new generation of fans and burying AEW, even though all of that is fine and dandy and entertaining, they got to give Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page a little bit more, a little bit something to make them serve their purpose there. Like, what is their purpose? Like, we know that they're kind of like, yeah, like we're better than everybody. We get that. Okay, but what else? I kind of do feel like it's been a slow, steady pace with them, because it was weird too, the way that they got paired up together, because I remember talking about this where, we had Ethan Page debut on AEW, and then like within a very short period of time, he was doing this, he was aligning himself with Scorpio Sky. And I remember that shortly after that debut that Ethan Page had on AEW, they did a vignette, they cut a promo where basically, Scorpio Sky was saying how he was like done with not getting the attention that he deserves on AEW, not getting the spotlight that he deserves and feeling that he deserves more. And Ethan Page was saying the exact same thing. But then I was like, bro, you just got here. This doesn't make sense. Like, it makes sense to Scorpio Sky, but it didn't make sense to Ethan Page at that time. And then you have them as a tag team, and I don't even remember much of what they did. And then all of a sudden there were Dan Lambert, which is fine. But now it's kind of like, okay, you got to do more, because right now it feels like the spotlight is just on Dan Lambert. It doesn't really feel like there's a spotlight right now on Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. So they do got to add a little bit something there for them. All right, make what you will. We'll get there eventually. There's got to be an end game there. I'm pretty sure there is. So that's the thing too. I forgot when or where, but I heard Tony Khan saying this. You know what? I think it was that interview on Wrestling Observer Radio where he did say that there's a purpose for everything that they do on the show, and that they're never not trying to use somebody. Forget what he said verbatim, but that's pretty much me paraphrasing what he said. So I trust that there's an end game here, all right? And we're making our way there. But thank you so much to Christopher for sending in this super chat. We got another one from James Boris who says, I don't like Lambert. He just feels like a discount Cornette, and I'm no Cornette fan. I like Dan Lambert, guys. I'm a fan. I like that type of stuff. So thank you so much to James for sending in this super chat here. And all right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. We'll move on here. All right, so after this, man, they just we got this heel promo from Dan Lambert, and then we get another one from MJF. So this was a back-to-back just heel work. All right. So we got, this is it, guys. This is it. Sorry, I almost forgot. Wow. Okay. This is it. This is my favorite segment on the show. And I think it's one of my favorite segments that I recall in my recent AEW memory bank. So as of right now, in my memory bank, this is literally one of my favorite segments that I've ever seen on Dynamite, okay? One of, all right? I love this, all right? Just off the bat, I love what it did for Bryan Pillman Jr., giving him the spot in his hometown, and I like that portion of it, okay? Then I liked all of the trash talking portion from MJF. And then on top of that, I love that they still tease MJF and Wardlow, which is something that we've been seeing now for a couple of weeks, but like little pieces. Today was really like that big obvious one. Like nobody missed this one at all. But you have MJF coming out, and he is essentially, basically just talking crap on Cincinnati. He calls it shit Cincinnati. I can't even say that word, but he's mocking everybody. He's mocking the people. He's mocking the people on Twitter because, he's making the crying face and saying that people on Twitter are always crying because MJF is so mean. He says that Cincinnati, Ohio is the biggest dumpster fire in the world. So, he's doing, heel work one-on-one, trashing on the city. Then he calls the Midwest. He says that the Midwest is called the Midwest because everything is mid. And he tells the people, you should jump the guardrail so that I could beat all of you guys up, but you're not going to do it because you're cowards. And then he starts attacking Bryan Pillman Jr.'s family. He tells Linda, don't make eye contact with me because I will knock your teeth out. And I thought, oh, that is so mean. And then he tells Bryan Pillman's daughter, he starts calling her 16 and pregnant. And if you guys have never seen 16 and pregnant, that is an insult. You will get it if you watch 16 and pregnant on MTV. You will totally get why MJF said this. I watched the show. I watched a couple of seasons. So I got it. And then he kind of basically throws out some other lines there, and he kind of throws shots at the way that she looks, etc. So we all knew that they were setting this up for Bryan Pillman Jr. to come out. So finally, he does come out. And so, he gets this really nice reception in his hometown. He calls MJF Maxwell jerk-off Friedman. And then he basically says that, that he didn't like him trashing the city, says that this city essentially breeds badasses like his father and like John Moxley, and basically just tells them, welcome to the jungle. So then it gets even more crazier. You have MJF, who, and if you watch Dark Side of the Ring, guys, this next line, I think, hits a little harder is what I'm trying to say here. I don't know how else to say it, but MJF throws a shot at his mom, and he says, your drug-addicted mother, Methany. So adding meth to her name. And so that was a savage line, okay? That was savage, right? Savage. I can't deny that was savage. So then he continues on, guys. MJF is a big time heel. He continues on, and he basically tells Bryan Pillman Jr. that his mom forgot to do to him what she did to all of the other prospects, and that is to swallow. And while most of you guys are adults, so you guys all know what that means. If you don't, good. I'm glad you don't. Then he tells Wardlow to step aside and to just look pretty. And Wardlow obviously gets a little pissed by this. He steps off into the corner, and then MJF is about to tell Bryan Pillman Jr. that his mom should have aborted him. And so Bryan Pillman Jr. doesn't let him get the words out. And before he even finished saying what he needs to say, Bryan Pillman Jr. is fed up and he attacks him. Wardlow does end up helping out MJF, but he doesn't do it right away. He takes his precious time to do it. So then afterwards, you see Wardlow and MJF both on Bryan Pillman Jr. Of course, Griff Garrison comes out to try to help out Bryan Pillman Jr. here. But instead, Wardlow and MJF essentially end up finishing both of them off. So I meant it when I said that I love this segment because, again, it gave, somebody like Bryan Pillman Jr., who's been pretty popular, it gave him this like really good moment on AEW. And I've said this so many times, AEW is really good at creating good moments. And they did that here for Bryan Pillman Jr. And then the trash talk from MJF. I think given the fact that if you watch Dark Side of the Ring and you kind of like know the backstory, these lines, they hit even harder. So I think because of that, and having had watched that episode of Dark Side of the Ring, to me, it added to everything that MJF said, where you're just kind of like, dude, did he just say that? Like, he literally just said that. And it's funny, but it's also like really it's something else, guys. It's savage. But anyway, so I love this segment. I think this was probably one of my favorite segments that I have seen in a very long time on Dynamite. I was a fan of this. And everybody here is just laughing, basically saying that MJF is the best. MJF was a savage. And we got a super chat from Reddy Eddie, who says, the AEW roster is something else now. It has a great mixture of young and veteran names that just feels right. I went to the roster page today and I was like scrolling and I was like, what? This is insane. Like, you literally have Adam Cole, you have Bryan Danielson, you have CM Punk, and, you know, so many other people. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, I screenshotted all their little like roster images and I posted them all up side by side on Twitter. And I was just like, take a second, like, soak it in. This is wild. Definitely wild. People are, we got Labor Day saying that MJF was peak in this segment. Riff 55 says MJF is despicable. That man should be in jail. The Cooch 97 says MJF has nuclear heat. That was definitely a TV mature promo. That was definitely TV mature promo. Let's see. Oh my God, guys. We got some really good comments in here that I can't even read on the air. I can't even read some of these on the air, guys, but really good stuff here. This one is from Robert Bailey Jr., who says, textbook old school angle. I loved it. Wardlow, who is also from Ohio, would have gotten over. Huge if he sided with Brian Pillman Jr. Cannot wait for Wardlow to have enough. And he is going to have enough. Nobody wants to be told, just go stand there and look pretty. Hell no. Hell no. Let's see what else we got here. We got so much good stuff on here, guys. This one's from A. Semper, who says that their promos already got me invested in their future feuds. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I haven't even gone into that. Thank you so much, A. Semper, who just reminded me that we're going to be seeing MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. At the Arthur Ashe show. There you go. Already, I'm super invested in that match. Why? Because of this one segment, and I'm completely here for it. This is a comment from Kevin, who says that the best thing to see out of this whole segment is that even though AEW is loaded with top tier talent, they are still giving time to the future building, and they got to, guys. They definitely have to. You can't just have a roster full of stars. Okay, you gotta have a little bit of everything there to, you know, fill in for those spots, okay? For those things. All right. Anyways, moving on. Let's see here. We got another super chat from Reductive92, who says, not Denise repeating MJF verbatim. I try, guys. It's very hard, but as I'm taking my notes for the show, I do write like all of my favorite lines, or the lines that stick out to me the most on these promos, because I like to repeat the lines on here, guys. They're pretty fun to do. And also for the people that don't watch the show, although I've noticed here that everybody that watches this stream watches the show too. I do other shows where people don't watch the show and they just watch the podcast, but I do try to make it so that just in case you didn't watch the show, but you just happen to listen to the podcast, well, then you know what was said and why it was a big deal. So that's why I format the show the way that I do here. And alrighty, guys. So I'm just gonna catch up really quickly and make sure I didn't miss anything. We got an interesting comment. This one is from Ashrith R, who says, Denise, do you want LAX to beat the Lucha Brothers? I don't know anymore. I don't know. If you guys were here for the other shows, I said that I wanted LAX to become, well, Santana and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful, to become tag team champions. But we just had this major moment with the Lucha Brothers. So I'm like, I want to see the Lucha Brothers enjoy and have a successful run as champions. So I still want to see the match, but I don't want to see them lose the bouts now. Like, That's it. That reaction and the way that the crowd was so invested in that match at All Out, it was nuts, guys. It was nuts. My fiance told me, because he was sitting in an opposite section, because I was in the media section, he was in another section. He told me that he could literally feel the ground shaking when the Lucha Brothers won the titles. And I was just like, damn, bro, like that is wild. So anyways, I would be torn. I want to see the Lucha Brothers have a nice long title reign. And if you guys watch the media scrum, again, that's up on my channel. Watch it. You'll see a lot of emotion coming from the Lucha Brothers. All right, guys, but let's go ahead and move on. All right, so after this, we had a match between Jamie Hayter and Ruby Soho. And oh my gosh, that Ruby Soho song, man, it is stuck in my head. It's on a loop, everybody. It's driving me a little bit nuts. I love the song, but I keep playing it over and over. And the same part too, the Ruby Soho part. That's the same part. Not even like the whole song. Just that one little line is stuck in my head. Anyways, really nice crowd reaction for Ruby Soho. The people love her, guys. She's very lovely person. Based on the small little interaction that I had with her at the scrum. Based on that, I can tell you she's a lovely person. Loved her gear. Loved the leopard. Thought it looked great. This match I didn't think was the very best. There was a bad spot here where Jamie had Ruby in an electric chair, and she sort of lost her balance while trying to adjust Ruby Soho, and she ended up just kind of like landing face first with kind of Ruby landing on top of her. So that spot didn't kind of like go over the way that it was supposed to. Quickly after this, we did see Ruby get the win here. I thought for a second that Jamie kind of looked a little bit out of it after that spot. So I don't know, like, if they kind of rushed to the finish there. I'm not entirely sure about that, but she just kind of looks like, I don't know. She didn't really look like completely there for that. So I hope she's okay. But anyways, that was just from my observations there. Then afterwards, we see post-match, we see Britt Baker and Rebel essentially jump Ruby Soho. And then Riho ends up coming out to help out. Chris Statlander ends up coming out to help out. And yeah, I don't know. It wasn't necessarily like the best, but the people were still into it because they were happy for Ruby. So that was what it was. We got a super chat from Sumaya Kaleem. Thank you so much for sending this in. Didn't write a comment, but I still thank you for sending in this super chat. Thank you very, very much here. And we got a lot of different comments here. This one is from We Just Strike Gaming, who says, not a fan of Jamie Hayter losing so quickly after making her in-ring return. She wasn't going to defeat Ruby. She wasn't going to defeat Ruby right now. That was not going to happen. Keith Duran says that Ruby's neck looked kind of banged up after that match. Daniel Zambrano says Ruby is such a great baby face that she got DMD booed. Yeah. There you go. You need that, though. You need that. And pretty much people here, everybody's sending me the lyrics. Marky Dark posted botchy in a few spots. Scary. Hope Ruby is all right. Yeah. So it looks like a lot of people kind of caught a little bit of that. But anyways, it was what it was, guys. And I'm going to go through a couple more comments, make sure I didn't miss anything that I want to make sure I read here. People are happy that Riho is back. And yeah, so am I. I was happy to see her. Well, not back, but I was happy to see her on the show today. And we got a super chat from Diable37. Thank you so much to Diable, who says, watching the U.S. Open while I listen in. Anyone who isn't sold on Arthur Ashe needs to catch up highlights from this tourney this week. Go Hollywood. Yeah, I'm really excited for that show. I think it's going to be a really fun one. And it's going to look good. Visually, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun visually and also based on what's been announced for the show so far. We got a super chat from Jimmy Belenko, who says, might just be me, but there are so many stories that don't make sense to casual fans. Do you think Tony Khan should put up more videos explaining backstories? E.g., I had no idea why Suzuki was a big deal. See, I was talking about something similar on my last week's show. Or no, it wasn't last week's show. No, it was the AEW All Out post show. And I basically talked a little bit about, if you weren't familiar with Minoru Suzuki, that you were going to be in for a treat. And for those that were familiar with Minoru Suzuki, well, then you were familiar, you were excited. I think sometimes it feels to me like everybody's already familiar with like people like Minoru Suzuki, but then sometimes I think that you forget that not everybody is. So I do think that it doesn't hurt to throw in, a little video or something. Like, I don't think it would hurt whatsoever to throw in a video. Or did they throw in a video? I don't remember. No, I don't think so. I don't think they did, actually. I think they did to promote the Kojima match, but not actually for the Minoru Suzuki match. So I think for the people that maybe aren't familiar with Suzuki, and for some of the other people that come in that aren't members of the AEW roster, I think because of the diehard fans and all of that, you just assume that everybody knows. But yeah, I don't think it would hurt to give a little bit of a backstory, like a quick video, or even just posting something on social media. Again, I don't keep up as much with like the social media posts. So if they did do something and I just didn't see it, I don't know. But yeah, I do get it. I think sometimes we forget that not everybody is familiar with, all of these people that they're bringing in, because yeah, there is a lot to follow when it comes to professional wrestling. There is a lot. We got another super chat from James Barris, who says, I actually thought that the botched Poison Rana looked really vicious and could be a signature if Ruby can make it safe. We'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know. It didn't look good today, guys. It did not look good today. But we'll see. I think that I'm excited to see what Ruby Soho is going to do in this women's division. And I think she was definitely needed. And even that small interaction with her and Britt Baker was absolutely, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, everybody's just basically pointing out that Ruby is a great babyface. And she is. She's genuinely likable, guys. I don't think I could get this over enough. She really, really is so likable. It's simple. And you need that for Britt Baker, who is like this big time heel. And yeah, Britt Baker's like this cool heel where like, yeah, she's like, saying all this stuff. And, she has so much attitude and all of that. We all know she's a heel, but she's that heel you like to love. But yeah, you do need somebody to, contradict that. And you could get Britt Baker booed with Ruby Soho because she is so genuinely liked. And alrighty, guys, here we go. I'm gonna go through a couple more comments here. We got a super chat from Cheeky Monkey, who says, do you think Ruby, Riho, and Statlander will form a faction? What would their gimmick be? I don't think they're gonna form a faction. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, we saw them kind of like all hugging it out right now, but yeah, I don't think so. I think this was just kind of like we were all on the same page for right now. And, maybe it'll lead to, a match, but I don't think they're going to form an actual faction. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I do not know. But I didn't get that off of tonight though. I didn't, but maybe I'm just slow. Let's see what else we got here. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next portion of the show here. Oh man, I gotta hurry up. Oh, wait. Oh, we only got 2 more segments. I just realized I just hit that 1 hour mark. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get into that the elite segment with Tony Schiavone in the ring here. This was fun because this is where we get a lot of the people that we were wanting to see what they were going to do with these people. So we have Don Callis coming out. He's bragging about the PWI 500 and Kenny Omega being ranked at number 1. They then announced the new member of the elite, Adam Cole. Adam Cole immediately gets into Tony Schiavone's face and says like he knows that he's close to Britt Baker, but he says that if he looks at her the wrong way, he will literally whoop his ass. And then that's when he calls him a nerd. He calls him a nerd, and it was like my favorite thing on the show. And I need to hear Adam Cole call more people nerds because I was a fan of this. And then he tells him, "Can you be any slower?" He's trying to get him to rush out of the ring, and Tony Schiavone's just like, "Damn, bro, I'm going. Rude." Anyway, so he then starts to put over, the members of the elite, starts to put over Kenny and the Bucks, and says that they're the reason why, AEW is where it is. Then he goes on to say that he's a once in a generation professional wrestler. He says that the fans should be thanking all of them, that they should be thanking the elite. And then he announces that he's going to be making his in-ring debut next week. They later announced afterwards that it's going to be against Frankie Kazarian, so that should be really good. Then after this, we have Bryan Danielson come out, and it was so nice to see Bryan Danielson come out, man. Every time he comes out, he just puts me in a good mood. He always has. has, even in WWE. No matter where he goes, I'm always a fan of Bryan Danielson. But anyway, so he comes out, really happy guy. And he basically says that he wants to fight Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's kind of like, nah, ain't gonna happen. And so Bryan Danielson is essentially telling him, like, you're afraid to have a match with me because you're afraid that everyone's gonna know that I'm better than you, that you're not on my level. And so then the Elite ends up jumping Bryan Danielson, but then Bryan Danielson ends up getting help from Jurassic Express, Christian Cage, and Frankie Kazarian. And then they all trap Brandon Cutler. Brandon Cutler ends up being the last and final standing member. And so they all circle around him, and I forgot what everybody was chanting, but it was hilarious. And then Bryan just kicks him in the face, and that's how that ends there. So this was fun. And here's the thing though, is that like when this was going down, I think this started like there was 27 minutes left on the show, and I was like, shit, we haven't even gotten into Adam Cole yet. We haven't even gotten into Bryan Danielson yet. We haven't even gotten into this match with Minoru Suzuki and Jon Moxley. And it was right then and there that I noticed, all right, we're not going to get the Minoru Suzuki Jon Moxley match that we were expecting. It was right then and there that I noticed, based on the time, that it wasn't going to go the way that we thought it was. But anyways, let's get into some super chats before we actually get into the actual match. Kyrus is saying Denise has so many favorite things on the show. You know what's funny? I heard myself saying that, and I thought the exact same thing. But what can I say? You know what? It's better to have a bunch of favorite things on the show than nothing on the show. We got a super chat from Daniel Sambrano who says, I had chills from seeing my favorite wrestler ever with 2021 Kenny Omega in the same ring. I cannot wait. I cannot wait either. I'll tell you that much right now. I cannot wait either. But I am going to wait, obviously, because I want this to be a very, very juicy storyline. I want to get swept away. Sweep me away in this storyline, and then give me a banger of a match. That's all I ask for. I don't ask for much. I really don't. We got a super chat from Crifter C who says, a friend said that the Elite's outfits are atrocious. I replied, apart from Adam Cole's baby. She said, yes, he gets style points for looking normal. Hi, Bria. Love Adam Cole's theme. So that's the point, though, obviously. Like, the way that they dress, it's like they dress terrible, right? But it's to kind of like attract more of that like heel heat. Like, they're taking one step further and pissing you off with their clothes. Like, that's the way that I see it. I actually see it as really hilarious. But yeah, their outfits are atrocious. But that's who they are, and that's how they're generating more heat with their fashion. So thank you to Crifter C for sending in that super chat. We get another one from Christopher Marino who says, don't want to rush Omega versus Danielson. Seeing them stand face to face, yes, please give me that match now. Yeah, I don't want them to rush it either. Like, yeah, I do want the match now, but like I said, I want to be swept away in a really good storyline, guys. Really, really good storyline. So thank you so much to Christopher for also sharing his thought here. And thank you. Everybody's reminding me they chanted "you fucked up." Thanks, guys. All right, we got another super chat from Robert Bailey Jr. who says, "Is it me or is Bryan Danielson kind of teasing heelish behavior? Omega versus Page and Dragon versus CM Punk is a doubleheader for the ages." I didn't feel like he was teasing heelish behavior. No, I didn't feel that. Did I miss something? Did anybody else feel this? I didn't feel that way whatsoever. No, I didn't get that. Maybe I'll rewatch and see if there was anything there, but I don't think so. I think that they already have Adam Cole who came in and is now a heel. So that's fine. You don't want to do the exact same thing with Bryan Danielson. Like, you want to keep him as is right now. At least that's what I think. That's my personal opinion. And all right, guys, let's, oh my gosh, these chats are just making me laugh, guys. These chats are making me laugh here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on here. And yeah, everybody's basically agreeing that they all think that, yeah, Labor Day says, no way, Bryan is the whitest meat babyface of babyfaces. That makes no sense. Yeah, exactly. He's going to stay a babyface, guys. Like, definitely. Samuel says that he was just a little bit cocky. That's fine. That's perfect. He was a little cocky in the media scrum too. It's hilarious. He was basically saying like he knows he's the best professional wrestler. And he's like, I know I'm good. You know I'm good. We all know I'm good. I thought that was hilarious. All right, guys. Let's move on to the main event, which was Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki. We kind of touched on this a little bit in the beginning. Basically, the fact that they cut off Suzuki's entrance, that was already like docking some points from there on that. This match was definitely rushed. I did not think that it met the expectations that many people might have had for this match. And that's unfortunate because I was expecting to be like, considering that I was very excited for this match, I was expecting to be blown away. I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't know how long it was, maybe a couple of minutes because, God, I think it started like around 6:50. Did it start at 6:50? It might have started a little bit before 6:50, and then it ended like at 6:57 because I looked at the clock. And between this, we also got a picture-in-picture, so that took you out of this match. But essentially, we have Jon Moxley and Suzuki starting off with, exchanging forearms, which was fun. Love that. So I was like ready for it. I was like, yeah, let's go, let's go. But then they went into this picture-in-picture, so that kind of took me out of it. You guys know, picture-in-picture, I'm out. I don't stop and watch. I go to the bathroom. I do my hair. I tweet. I do something else. I never pay attention to the picture-in-pictures. But then we come back from the commercial break and they both start headbutting each other. I love this. There's a moment where essentially they both headbutt each other like first they were taking turns, right? But then there was one where they did it exactly at the exact same time. Oh, that was absolutely sick. Then at one point, we start to see Suzuki get busted open. And shortly after, Moxley hits him with a paradigm shift and ends up winning. So yeah, I did think this match fell short of expectations. Should have been a lot longer. And I hope that they do this match again, maybe on a pay-per-view, something, because this is essentially like it. I wanted more, guys. I wanted more. Sue me. I wanted more. Let's see what else we got here. See, Money says, I only pay attention to picture-in-picture if Nick Gage has a pizza cutter. Oh, man, that's brilliant stuff right there, guys. Syracuse Dude 86 says they should have done this match another time if the show was already booked heavily. Not even that. Like, I'm cool with, like I said on the All Out show that they should, I don't know when the plan was to actually bring in Minoru Suzuki. I do think that they should have, instead of having Kojima versus Kojima versus Moxley at All Out, they should have had Minoru Suzuki versus Jon Moxley at the pay-per-view so they can get more time and then have that match with Kojima here tonight on Dynamite. I think they could have swapped those just so we could have gone in. That was the match that people wanted to see. So you obviously want to give the people what they want, and that's what they wanted. And then in terms of, okay, fine, if this match is going to be on the show today here, great, but maybe take some stuff out of the show. Put it on a different show. We didn't absolutely, there were certain things that happened on today's show that we didn't absolutely need to see today. Like, it could have been done on a different show to give this match more time. So yeah, they could have definitely worked around that there. We got a super chat from Crifter C who says Cincinnati was so hot for Moxley and CM Punk. Hell yeah, they were definitely on it. Very excited crowd. Good for them. You can tell they had a good time. We got a comment from The Roy Lives who says that they love seeing Mox celebrating with the hot Cincy crowd. I like that too, but again, I have to agree with Christopher here who says that they wanted more. Really, really wanted more. We got a lot of comments about this, guys, and not all of them are positive, but let's read them. We got one from Hector Rodriguez who says Suzuki versus Moxley was hyped so big, but they dropped the ball real hard. VL Kimo says the buildup was beautiful. Let's see what else we got. Jeremy Jimenez says Mox versus Murder Grandpa needs a rematch. Tim Carpenter says she doesn't watch picture-in-picture. Typical millennial. I'm not going to watch picture-in-picture, guys. Sue me. I do not like picture-in-picture. I don't care what I'm watching. I'm not going to watch picture-in-picture. I don't know if that's a millennial thing or what. I'm pretty sure there's people on here that are not millennials, and even they do not watch picture-in-picture. Admit it now. Admit it now. We got a super chat from Brent M who says timing was definitely off. They had 10 minutes left over. They had like 3 minutes left over, right? Well, because the match ended when I looked at the clock, it was 6:57 when the match ended. They still had a little bit of time. They had a couple of time. They had a little bit. Again, They should have just taken something out to give that match more time. Thank you so much to Brent for sending in this super chat. I appreciate it. And let's see. Oh, we got another super chat from James who says that he has a random Forbidden Door question saying, do we get a Kota Kenny storyline before or after he drops the strap to Hangman? Why you got to tease me like that? James, why do you have to tease me like that? With Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. I'm just sad. Now I'm just sad. I don't know if we're going to get a storyline with them. I don't know. Again, we don't know what can happen with the Forbidden Door. We know that Kota Ibushi is, he is a New Japan guy, but I do not know if this means that with that relationship that he's going to come over and do something with Kenny Omega. The interest is definitely there. Will it happen? I have zero idea. Zero clue. Do I hope it happens? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I do. So yeah, we will see. Alrighty, let's see what else we got here. We got a super chat from Christopher Marino who says that Suzuki will be at the next GCW show here in Los Angeles. Yeah, he will. He totally will. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping I get to be at that show. We'll see. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Kier says, I'm a millennial, but I'm watching on Fight TV. I don't think Fight TV doesn't do the picture-in-pictures. You guys just get like the show, right? I don't know. I've never watched Dynamite on Fight TV, so I'm not really too sure. I'm not really too sure here. Alrighty, guys. So I think we pretty much got everything that we needed to get here, but I'll read this final comment from Wrestle War who says, Omega gets kicked out of the Elite after dropping the belt to Hangman and the Golden Lovers versus Heel Bucks. Fantasy booking. Fantasy booking, man. I appreciate all of your fantasy bookings that get sent into this stream. Alrighty, guys. There you go. That was my September 8th AEW Dynamite edition of the show here. Friendly reminder, again, I will be back this Friday to talk about Rampage and Smackdown. And then we'll pretty much go from there. Then I'll be back on Tuesday for NXT. And it is going to be the brand new version of NXT. We're going to be getting a lot of different stuff on there. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. Before I go, do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please do so. We're about to hit that 80K mark. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. I just uploaded a very, very interesting and fun conversation with Jake Atlas that was over an hour long. And I think it was probably my best interview that I've ever done. And I've done a lot of interviews. Definitely go check that one out. And again, if you haven't seen any of the media scrums from AEW All Out, you could also check those out on my YouTube channel. Just type in my name on YouTube and it will pop up there. Thank you guys so much. As always, have a wonderful night and I will see you guys